of the terms, comments, and stories you're about to hear may not be suitable for some. Listener discretion advised.
I'll give you a good reason why my house is not complete. I have a professional wrestler and a gangster rapper building my house.
All right now, boys and girls, we want to introduce...
Mom says when I wear this badge, you're supposed to treat me like a man of the law.
Dave Sheridan.
I did poop my pants a little bit on purpose. I wanted to.
Oh, so. You did it.
CJ Creech.
I actually got on Facebook a friend request from a member of ISIS this past week, which was really freaking weird.
Have you seen your beard lately?
The Dave and Creech Show.
Now here's your hosts, Dave and Creech.
So we want to thank you for coming on, Dave and Creech. This is Dave Sheridan, and then I'm Creech. We've been talking.
Thank you very much, man. I appreciate the opportunity.
You're a badass. From Cuba,
Thank you, brother. Yes, sir.
So what happened?
Well, I was born and raised in Miami. My parents are Cuban. I'm got a Cuban background.
Right. And so how did you get into? Did you start with boxing first, and then moved into MMA? Like your discipline. As what age? What was your first thing you got into it, and at what age?
So I was into boxing since I was a kid. I did my amateur boxing career as a teenager, and then life took me in all types of different directions. I was getting in all types of trouble. I actually went to prison for fighting on the street, and then I came out, and years after coming out of prison, trying to figure out what I wanted to do, I always knew I wanted to be a professional athlete, and I always wanted to be, I love fighting. I was always into fighting. So, but going on 4 years now, I had what I like to say as a come to God moment, and I said, I can't be BSing no more like I'm doing on the streets and nothing. I got to give this a try before I get too old. And it started off as a bucket list thing, so I got in the gym, started training, took a boxing match in short notice, and I won by knockout in the first round, and it was the best high I've ever done, I've ever had, it was great. And I said, man, I got to stick to this. And so I'm 12-1 with 11 knockouts as a boxer. I hold the National Boxing Association title. And then one day when I was at my manager, he owns a barbershop. I was at the barbershop, and they were having a meeting with Lex McMahon. He's the COO of Titan FC, which is an MMA promotion. I joking, and not really joking. I was telling him, I was like, hey, Lex, get me an MMA fight. They kind of took it as a joke. They laughed it off, and I was like, no, I'm serious. Put me in there. And as soon as I left the barbershop, about 30 minutes later, Lex McMahon calls me and tells me, get ready for December 20. You're going to make your MMA debut. So I did that. I won by first round knockout there, too. And then I kept on, I've been practicing jiu-jitsu. When I got into MMA, I just did jiu-jitsu competitions for New Breed. I took second place in both of those, and now I have February 15th. I'm fighting in BKFC, which is a huge promotion for bare knuckle, and and I'm honestly living a dream.
Are you gonna do both, or because there's so much more that MMA now you're gonna do 3-4 disciplines, and you know what I'm saying, and you got to and you're not you go into any of these things, and you're taking a chance with your life. You're investing a lot of your time, but you're going to get hit, right? And so if every one of you guys that gets in this, the goal is to be the champ. You know what I mean? And that's the end result. So do you feel like you need to now make your focus 100% MMA and boxing is done and you're going to have the 12-1 and probably not go back until maybe a later date? Or do you think you can do both? Because your last fight in boxing was just, in October, right? So
yeah. No, I feel like I can do it all. I feel like I can do it all, and I don't mean that I don't mean that to boast. I just feel like I can do that. I can do every discipline. I've boxing I'm established in, so bare knuckle boxing is just it's kind of the same thing, just without gloves. The training. As for MMA, I still train jiu-jitsu every day. I feel like MMA has really helped me out in my boxing career, as with cardio and just with different movements. And I'm not. What I like about what I have going on is I'm not tied down to anybody. I manage to do my own career. I have a management team, but we have flexibility and we're able to go to different promotions. And I'm using fighting, period. Whether it's MMA, boxing, bare knuckle, I'm also using it as a platform to show people that, you know, it's never too late to be what you could have been. And it doesn't matter what your background is and what kind of trouble you've been in or where it is, you can overcome that and make it turn a negative into a positive, you know?
Absolutely, yeah, because, like, you know, you're basically, like, what, 38 maybe right now or something like that, somewhere in that realm. You started, when you talked about your come to Jesus thing, and then you know, you started your professional boxing in 2017, or and that's what I'm seeing here. So it was like,
my first fight was January of 2017.
Yeah, so you're basically in your 30s starting a young man's sport. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
As the I wouldn't call you the old man, but and thank God for genetics. You know what I mean? Because you're only as young as you feel. You know, so
right, yeah. And I definitely feel a lot younger than my age says.
But let me ask you a question, and this is personal, but this is to the core of the whole thing. And this is the core. This is what, if you could say one thing, and I'm telling you, you have an opportunity here. I don't know how many people listen to us, but the biggest thing that any of us can do in life is to open up that door to the coming of, you know, come to Jesus opportunity for them. And so the greatest story you're always going to tell, even when you become a champion, the greatest story is that moment that you really knew, this is what I'm going to do, what brought you to that. So I'd love to hear, tell me that. Tell me what was going on in your life, and tell me what made you, you know, the experience you had.
So I was, you know, I was living in Colorado. I was part of what they call the gold rush, you know, over there. You know, I was in the marijuana business, and I was 35 years old, and you know, I was training over there. I was doing some jiu-jitsu over there, a little bit of boxing here and there. I was working out, doing weight, but you know, and you know, I was making decent money, but I didn't find myself happy. I wasn't doing what I thought I was, you know, called to do. And so I feel like, you know, like I said, there's this come to God moment and epiphany. Just had this thought where I'm like, man, I'm going to wait. So I had a thought of like, yo, 10 years from now, I'm going to be 45 years old. What am I going to be doing? Am I going to still be, you know, trying to grow marijuana? Like, there's no retirement plan here. There's no exit plan. I need to do something better than this, you know, better. I feel like I'm better than this, and not to knock anybody, just for myself. I feel like I was better than what I was doing. And I said, you know what, man? That same exact day, I called my partners. You know, I told them, look, I want out of here. Buy me out. I packed up my car. I called the transport company. I need you guys to move my car. They picked up my car. I was in Miami the very next day, and I was in the gym 2 days later after that. And I started training. That was November of 2016. I trained, you know, and I remember right before New Year's of 2017, I had told my coach, you know, I've been training probably 4 weeks straight. I told him, hey, man, I want to take a fight. He's like, all right. So about 3 days later, they came to me and they told me, hey, January 27 of 2017, which was probably, you know, less than a month away, is a fight. You know, I was like, oh, shit, you know, let's do it. I wasn't sure, but I was like, I know I had to take this. I had to take that step. I had to take that step, you know. And they always say success is on right one step past fear, you know. And I had to overcome that my mindset. And I took that step, and here I am. Like I said, you know, going into my 4th year. I feel great. I'm 12-1 as a boxer, 11 knockouts. I got an MMA fight. I got a huge bare knuckle fight coming out on pay-per-view. You know, I was on a Super Bowl commercial this weekend, and all this stems. I have a hashtag on my Instagram that says "Fighting saved my life," and that's what I feel. Fighting has seriously saved my life. I wake up every morning super happy. I love what I'm doing, you know. And everybody has their days where you wake up and you're tired and you don't feel like doing what you got to do. But I get up, I do it, and once I get it done, I'm like, man, you know, like what am I complaining about? I'm living life right now, you know.
Yeah, I love it. Absolutely. I think it's interesting that you said you were never comfortable. You knew that you needed to do something better with your life. You know what I'm saying? And that's my entire life. You know, obviously, like the time, you know, like you said, you went to prison and for fighting somebody, but you know, you can't fight the truth. You can't fight the truth, and you knew that there was a calling for you. You know what I'm saying? And then it's going to be interesting what happens next, because I always say you never know the reason you do something until after you do it. You know, you might go, I want to get into boxing, I want to get into the MMA because it's what's natural for me, it's what I was born for. But then after that's over with, or when you reach that, your experience then is going to transform into something else, you know, and so you don't even know, you know, in 10 years from now, I'm going to be talking to a different movie, you know, saying who's doing something completely different in a weird way.
Absolutely.
So,
absolutely, because people ask me, like, don't you
I would say, go ahead.
No, I'm sorry to interrupt you. Yeah, people ask me, don't you wish you would have done this 10 years ago? And I said, no, I'm glad I'm doing it now, because me 10 years ago would have messed this opportunity up, you know?
Right. Exactly. I think it's pretty unique, and you just have to enjoy the ride. And that's the thing about people all the time say, oh, I want to be happy. I'm not happy. And they think that happy is a state of mind, like it's a permanent state of mind. It's not. It's an emotion like crying or feeling sad. You know, you cry at a funeral, but you don't walk around crying for 5 years. You know what I mean? You cry, you get out of it. So happiness is an emotion. But fulfillment and joy is a thing that you live in. You know what I mean? And so, learning how to be comfortable in the universe and in your life, whatever that is the biggest thing. I see so many people frustrated because they think they're chasing this thing called happiness, and that's not what it is. It's fulfillment. You know. So you're a heavyweight. You know, you're like in the heavyweight division. Is there a limit? Because right now it says you're 265. So is there a limit that gets it in the MMA? I'm talking MMA now, not boxing. What does the heavyweight division cover?
No, so I fight in the middleweight division. I just fought at 185, but I'm actually moving down to 170 with welterweight division. But for me, it's you know, it's not too much of a weight cut. I walk around probably between 190 and 195. So you know, it's not too much of a weight cut. It's pretty easy for me, and you know, I walk around. That weight is comfortable for me to fight in.
Yeah, and from the weigh-in, is the boxing weigh-ins run the same way MMA weigh-ins do? Is there a certain amount of hours, like they do the weigh-in and then they give you a certain amount of hours before the fight? Some might be, I don't know if it's 24, 72, or only 18 or 12, where obviously you're going to replenish you're going to get the water back in and everything else that you've been cutting. So guys come in, you know, right? Like if you weigh in at a certain weight, then when you're really fighting, you're actually a little bit heavier, right? And so is the other guy. How much time in between a weigh-in and a fight occurs?
So we always weigh in the day before the fight, so you have a little bit over 24 hours because you weigh in the morning the day before, and you don't fight till the next day at night. So it's a little over 24 hours.
And is there no limit? There's no like re-weigh-in or no limit. They don't care at that point, right? You could come in.
Once you make the fight weight, whatever you come in for, once you make the weight at the weigh-in for what the contract is, after that it doesn't matter what you boost up to.
Okay, got it. And I apologize for getting your weight wrong, but I'm looking at a website. It's called SureDog.com. It's the MMA site for your record against. Right now they put me as a heavyweight. The win against Steven. Yeah, they got you heavyweight in 265. They got the fight right, 31 seconds against Steven.
Yes, sir.
So what's that? What's the I don't know if that guy's Irish or Scottish. The fucking loudmouth guy. He just had a good fight. What's that guy's name?
Oh, Conor McGregor.
Yeah, is he in your weight class?
Yeah. Well, yeah, his last fight right now was his last fight right now was at 170, and that's the weight class I'm going down to. Yeah, welterweight.
So you're going down, and I think he must have went up. He looked like he was 145 or something at one point when he was early on.
He used to fight.
Like he
got a title at 145, and he had a title at 155.
Right. So kickboxing then, because clearly that isn't that what he fucking got a little like left leg in there and just got the guy's jaw, right? And it's done. But it looked like is that also, because jiu-jitsu is on the ground. That's like ground stuff, right? You've got your boxing, but I would imagine is that the stuff that he was doing kickboxing? Is that, or was that just like what maneuver did he do there?
Yeah, I did a little. I've done some kickboxing. I do jiu-jitsu. That's on the ground. But yeah, for MMA, you have to be well versed in everything. So it's some kicking, it's some punching, it's some groundwork, it's some wrestling. It's you got to take care of all aspects of fighting.
Right, and each one of those aspects is adjusted based on the opponent, because you're going to know what their strengths are, right? And you're going to have to make an adjustment to if you've got so much boxing over this guy, and you're like, I know that if I can keep it in the upper spot, if I can keep standing and I can keep him with my arms. But if he's a guy that's good with like kicks and legs, you got to make sure you're taking that into account, because you have to be a lot closer with boxing than you can with a leg or two. So, since it's only been one fight, and from what I'm seeing, 31, I didn't get to watch it yet, but I'm imagining you clocked the fuck out of him, got him down, and just got on top and just clocked him until it was over, right? So
that's exactly what it was. I caught him with a punch. He tried to back up, and I ran after him and just dropped him and got on top of him, and that's it. I finished him quick.
So you already have another fight set. Do you know your opponent, you said?
Yes, sir. I'm fighting February 15th for Bare Knuckle Fighting Championship. I already know who my opponent is, and to me as a professional fighter, the smart thing to do is always study your opponent a little bit, see what his weaknesses are, see what his strengths are, and when you on your fighting camp, work on those strengths and weaknesses. How to get around those.
Yeah, and basically also have a game plan. Just like anybody else, you have a plan of, hey, if everything works out perfectly, this is the way it should play out, or if I at least do these things. But you're saying bare knuckle, and the other one was MMA. So you're wearing gloves in the MMA, but what's the padding on those gloves? Very little. I mean, what are the every league has a different thing, or what's the...
Well, MMA is 4-ounce gloves. Bare knuckle is bare knuckle. You don't have any padding in your hands. You're just barehanded.
That's exactly, and that'll be your first bare knuckle thing, then, right?
No, I fought a bare knuckle 1,000 times. It actually got me in trouble. That's what I went to prison for. But this is my first sanctioned fight that I'm making money for. Bare knuckle.
Good answer. Good answer. Yeah, that's what I meant by the question, though. Like, sanction and getting paid bare knuckle. Although there's probably some bare knuckle fights that you took some money. So let me ask you a question though with the bare knuckle. So is that straight up boxing, or is it again taking someone down and or is it more like the old bare knuckles in the turn of the century before boxing was a gentleman's boxing?
It's the same boxing rules. The only thing different is you could grab somebody in the back of the head like a clinch and punch while you're grabbing the back of their neck. But yeah, this goes back into ancient history. This bare knuckle boxing, So it's awesome. It's gladiator.
Yeah. No. Yeah. Wow. And I think that's cool, man. Like now, you do that, and now it's like boom, 3 under your belt. Like there's not a lot of guys that can say, even MMA fighters would say, I've done a professional boxing and now MMA and now professional bare knuckle. You know what I mean? Like that's pretty astounding to have that resume. That's pretty cool. So what are you doing to prepare for the bare knuckle part? Is there anything different in just the terms of, conditioning your hands? Like, push-ups with my knuckles, like I'm doing, fist push-ups. I mean, are you hitting anything in a certain way, hitting something harder for your hands to sort of build up, or what?
Well, my hands are well conditioned from over years of training, and but yeah, the only difference in the training is that I'm hitting the pads and I'm hitting everything with no gloves on. So that's a big difference in training, but I feel very comfortable with it.
That's great. I think I can say. What's the date of that one again?
That one is February 15th in the Fort Lauderdale Convention Center. It's going to be on pay-per-view. BKFC 10. It's a huge promotion. I'm asking South Florida to come out and support, and if you're not in South Florida, you can't make it. Tune in on pay-per-view.
Yeah, right. That's awesome. And then, again, like you see all these, whether they're the wrestlers like The Rock or those other names that have gone into entertainment business, and there's a lot of MMA boxing. So that's something that you're open to as well, is to do some acting, right, and to be in some movies and stuff, right?
Oh man, I would love that. Yeah, that's definitely something we're looking into in the future. So I'm building my name up now. So soon Hollywood will be knocking on my door for some movies or something. That'll be great.
I think so. You know why? Because I'm friends with Danny Trejo, right? And I've done.
I love Danny Trejo.
Danny is one of the nicest guys in the world. And but he's also like 77. He might even be older now. So it's like there's a window there. Someday somebody needs to be that next Danny Trejo. You know what I mean? That next grizzled Latino badass. So that's you.
That would be awesome, man. That would be awesome. I would love to portray that role. And I was actually in a movie called Den of Thieves with Gerard Butler and 50 Cent. I have a small cameo in it, as an extra. But I was there. I was there with these guys. Yeah.
Awesome.
I do have a fan question here from Brian Daniels off Facebook. He wants to ask, you've had, as we've been talking about your fighting record, is there any one fight you believe that has more importance than the others that you've been in?
No, I every fight I have coming up, I take it with the utmost importance, and I don't overlook anybody. I train for everyone. Like if I'm fighting for a championship belt or against somebody that I train like if I'm going against Mike Tyson every time.
Just on going back to the boxing, because that's obviously you had a full career on that right now, 12-1. And were all those fights, were they all over the world? Were they most of them in Vegas, or most of them here in Florida?
I've fought everywhere. I fought in Florida a couple of times. I fought in Dominican Republic. I fought in Colombia. I fought in Italy. I fought in Mexico. Looking forward to fighting Vegas soon. And fighting, like I said earlier, fighting has saved my life, and it's taken me around the world. It's been amazing. Guys, I hate to cut it short, but
yeah, we got to go too.
I hate to cut it short, but I'm walking into another radio station now. I truly appreciate you guys and the opportunity. Thank you so much, man. And,
you're very welcome.
And good luck with everything you got coming up. Thank you.
Yeah, good luck.
Thank you so much.
Bye bye.